It's a defining moment for Australia as well.
Well, basically, you're supporting Australian money, keeping the money in Australia?
Yeah, no, I won't take up too much of your time.
Couldn't fit it in at this stage. Well, that's unfortunate. Why would that be, mate?
No worries, George.
All right, beautiful.
Okay, have a great day.
Many jobs are destined to go offshore, but Australia has a few trump cards that give it an edge in the new global economy. Mike Shove heads the Australian operations of Computer Sciences Corporation, or CSC, a multinational IT services company. Part of his job is to sell clients on his adopted country, Australia.
I give them the pitch on bright workforce, well-educated, committed, stable economy, excellent infrastructure. Electricity works here. If you've got mission-critical applications, you wouldn't necessarily run them in a developing country because you can't afford to go down. You can't have an airline reservation system go down.
Kính chào quý vị đã kêu Hyatt International. Tên của tôi là Loan Trần. Tôi có thể làm gì?
The Hyatt Hotel call centre has another good reason to stay in Australia.
There just aren't many parts of the world that have a large number of people that speak different languages. It has to be an immigrant society.
Bienvenue à la centrale de réservation de Melbourne, c'est Johnny qui vous parle.
Well, what other immigrant economies are there? There's the UK, there's Canada, much more expensive than Australia. Okay, so we not only have multilingual capabilities, but they're less expensive in relative terms to some of the other countries that have immigrant economies around the world. So this is, still going to be for a long time an advantage that we have.
Your call is important to us. Please press # to continue. Your call has been placed in queue.
And one bank promotes a key feature that could keep jobs at home. Familiar voices on the other end of the line.
ANZ, Australia's best call centre.
There's a large number of call centre activities that really cannot be offshored because they are customer-facing, and customers just don't want to talk to people in India, or they pick up the accents and so forth. And fine, so that will be done in Australia.
And then there's a lot of people that they'll thank God the minute they hear your voice or your name and say, oh, thank God you're not black or Indian. And it's like, well, how do you know that? Yeah,
because they don't know that. That's the beauty of it.
No, they don't.
Because I know heaps of Australians of all different cultures that just have an Australian accent, and they get people calling them and saying, oh, thank God you're not black. And it's like, well, actually, I am. You're not in India, are you? Oh, thank God. I guess maybe the jobs will stay in the country if the Australian public remain as racist as they are. I guess it's good the public is concerned when they're calling, is that who they're talking to isn't outsourced. I guess that's kind of reassuring if they're checking to make sure that the companies they're dealing with are employing people within the country. That's important.
Maybe the customer backlash will keep some call centres on home turf, but for the 40,000 financial sector jobs expected to head offshore, what will take their place?
Let's face it, there will be disruption in certain job categories and certain professions in Australia. It's inevitable. But we shouldn't worry or focus so much on the loss of what I call old jobs. We should be really focused on the creation of new jobs.
CSC is one place where the new jobs are being created. They design and manage computer systems for major corporations and governments around the world. One example is their IT system that coordinates the corporate information management for a global resources company.
So I think they want to know exactly how much RAM and stuff they've got as well, so we might have to go to the server guys.
4 gig of RAM?
Righto.
CSC's high-tech workforce in Wollongong played a leading role in the system's design. But the low-tech workers who run the 24/7 help desk are located in Hyderabad, India. Mike Shove thinks this makes good business sense.
Our advantage over the Indians in any developing country is the deep technical skills we have. I think that's where we have to play. If we survive on low cost, we just can't compete in that space at all. We may lose a few more jobs that are created, but I think will create more higher value jobs, better paid jobs, and create more genuine knowledge workers rather than just back-end processing stuff.
But in the past 5 years, the number of IT graduates has seriously slumped, and companies like CSC are concerned that university courses are not up to date.
They certainly got some catching up to do, in my opinion. One of the challenges the university's got is technology is a dynamic industry. It moves every few years, and that's hard to keep up.
So where does that leave low-skilled call centre employment?
As much as we don't like it, we do need it because, what other lines of work are there apart from very highly skilled professional jobs? And, maybe we'll all end up homeless, and our homeless rate and our unemployed rates will just go through the roof, and then there'll be a backlash on whichever government's in, power at the time, and it's just a bit exhausting to think about, really.
The sensitivity, because some people will lose their jobs, and, I understand that. And if I was that person, I'd be sensitive about it. It's in individual personal circumstances, it can be quite tragic. There's no doubt about that. But what's the alternative? That's what I come to. This is one of those very messy situations where the suffering of a few people, if you try and resolve that or avoid it or ameliorate it in some way, in the long term can actually end up hurting a lot more people. And I know that sounds harsh and it sounds rationalistic and everything, but it's reality.
In the corporate race to outsource labour and cut costs, the future of call centre workers everywhere hangs in the balance.
What we're saying is that people need to be treated with respect from whichever country they're in, that corporations should not be bargaining and putting one country against another or one state against another and holding whole communities to ransom.
Now, even India is not safe from the harsh reality of economic rationalism. Already it's vying with other developing countries for BPO work.
You're beginning to see China make a move into this space as China generates enormous quantities of skilled graduates from its universities, growing at a very fast rate as they acquire English language skills in particular.
India's already worried about Sri Lanka, who does have good English-speaking skills, as everybody knows. And what happens to all of those educated people with the movement of jobs out of India?
Even with the current BPO boom, India remains an overwhelmingly poor country, and there are no quick fixes.
India has a population of 1 billion people. Average per capita income is, $500 a year. You're not going to get that to $20,000 a year in a hurry. I mean, that's the reality. At the same time, though, what I would tell you is it's given India newfound confidence, I think.
India's newfound confidence may be at the expense of workers in countries like Australia, but in this new era of globalisation, no country has a monopoly over jobs. Perhaps now it's India's turn.
I hear lots of people say, we can't be losing those jobs to those people overseas. Well, when you see the poverty and when you see the way a lot of people live, what right have we to jobs more than they have? We're saying that there should be decent and fair conditions for all.
वैसे तो लाइफ में क्या होगा आगे वो फ्यूचर में वो नहीं पता, लेकिन अभी जो सोच के चल रही हूँ या जो गोल बना रखा है उसमें अभी फर्स्ट स्टेप है मेरा, वो भी अभी अच्छी तरह नहीं रखना है.
Eastern State viewers are invited to join a web chat now.